Go Cougars, this is Dr. Jim Brewer, District Administrator for the Clinton Community School District. And then the shout out of the week this week goes to everybody in our EL department. And with me today to talk about EL and particularly our access scores, okay, is
Mr. Stout, the EL teacher for the 712 building.
Shalina Lipto, EL teacher at both buildings.
Melinda Skoy, EL teacher at Clinton Elementary School.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you three and everybody else in the EL department for the work that you do for our kids. And, you know, there's one thing that people should understand is one of the things that you do in your role is something known as access testing. Can somebody tell us a little bit about what access testing is?
Well, what access testing is that it's a statewide test that we give to our learners, our students who are learning English, and is to find out what proficiency level they fall at. And there's 4 different domains which they get tested on: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Sure. And then we get an overall composite score to see, and then we compare it from each year, and the goal is to have them exit the program at a level 5.
Perfect. And that is the goal, right? I mean, our goal is to get them all the way through level 5. Yep. And this access test kind of helps us guide, okay, how we service our kids, right, all the way through. And I had the pleasure recently of learning some of our access scores, and I'm so proud of you all, everybody else in the EL department, our entire teaching staff, the families associated that are participating in this. Can you tell us a little bit about how we scored on access recently?
Yeah, so up here at the high school building, our scores went up an average of 5.4 across the board percent. Last year they went up about 2% across the board, so we made another big jump. And both of those times are the first 2 times in the last 5-6 years that the scores went up at all. So,
absolutely. So
to see a 2% to 5% jump in the last year is awesome.
Huge.
And then also we went from not testing anybody out in the last 5 years to in the last 2 years we've tested out 4 of our students, and that's just up here.
Yeah.
So down there they've done a lot.
At the high school level, it's actually much harder to test out because the test gets harder. So typically students' scores fall. So instead of seeing a growth at the middle and high school level, you typically see that students are getting, their scores are going down as the test is getting harder and they're not making the
But recently, we're seeing our scores go up, and we're testing kids out.
Yes, and we had students that got higher, and then, so one thing in addition to, because now we have middle schoolers up here, so our 6th and 7th graders, we started this year an intervention class that I've been teaching up here. This was a new program that we did, where we have more of a self-contained intervention class. And so it was really exciting because our students that went from 6th to 7th grade that were in my intervention, they grew an average of 23.5 scale score, which the typical growth in middle school is like 5 to 6 points.
Really?
So those students really grew. So that was like a 7% increase there in those scales. So that was really exciting for me to kind of see that intervention group grow. When you don't see a lot of growth, to see like a big growth was exciting.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah,
That's
thank
exciting.
you.
And then, I'd like to speak on behalf of the elementary school. Comparing last year to this year, our students, there's been an increase overall of 6.7% in the access scores, which is, it's really nice to see that. And then we have had a lot of newcomers moving, into the district.
Okay.
And when looking at their scores, we had an increase of 22% in their scores from last year to this year. Big gains, in their proficiency levels. And then also, when we look for, statewide, for an average newcomer, usually their first year when they take it, they'll increase 40 points.
Okay.
But our students, they had an increase of 48 points.
Oh, higher.
And 2 of them actually had 60 points, even higher.
Really?
So,
Wow.
So that's really neat to see with our newcomers.
Well, and I got some of this data shared with me, and you can obviously tell why you all deserve a shout out. Okay? There's no question about that. We do have a growing population of individuals that are serviced in your department, and they couldn't come to a better place, right? I mean, you listen to these scores and they get to work with you and all the other fantastic folks involved in the department. Again, I want to thank the 3 of you and everybody else for all the hard work that you're doing. Obviously, it's paying off. You can hear that and see that with the data, and I thank you all, and go Cougars.